Hello and welcome to Geek Fuel'd, this month's review of last month's featured Geek Fuel game. I'm TheBrokeGameGirl, and this month I'm reviewing Archibald's Adventures. Archibald's Adventures is a puzzle platformer. I'm sorry, I can't just glaze over. Who in the world is still naming their child Archibald? This is a game that's set in a semi-modern time, not 15th century England. I'm actually glad that the story in this game isn't really mentioned beyond the intro, because when I think about it, well, you be the judge. Archibald's Adventures is a puzzle platformer about a kid named Archibald, or Archie for short, and his radical skateboarding reputation. In this search for the most killer ramp, which happens to be on a mad scientist's property, he falls deep into the lab beneath. With only his trusty skateboard and his wits, Archie must navigate endless obstacles and horrifying monsters to get out of the laboratory. And that's kind of it. That's the story. It's the kind of thing that gets added to a game to justify the mechanics. You saw a lot of this kind of story with games in the 80s and early 90s, which is the kind of feel I get from this game. Points for nostalgia feels, and for trying, but it's probably a good thing for this game that my rating system is weighted to consider less story-driven games, because story isn't driving this game at all. It certainly doesn't do anything to motivate the player. Just do it! Or teach them game mechanics. All the information you need is given to you in dialogue boxes within the levels that introduce you to that circumstance. Gotta give it to Geek Fuel though. 2 for 2 on games with unobtrusive tutorials. Big old thumbs up for that. And that's a really good thing too, because there are a lot of obstacles and a lot of levels. You'd honestly think that this was a tablet game based on the design. The levels go on for pages, and none of them are very long. This game was built to be addicting. Easy short levels at first to give the player short bursts of accomplishment, then it gets harder and harder and harder and lets the players need to complete the puzzle feed their determination. Archibald's Adventures does this incredibly well, barely breaking up gameplay or letting the player rest with checkpoints. The game is mostly gameplay, extremely engaging gameplay. The game physics are a little clunky and take some time to get used to, but as someone who's been playing a lot of retro games recently, why can't Yoshi come with me? Why? The door is clearly big enough! I feel like that was a conscious choice made by the designers, and the game accommodates keyboard or controller so the player can choose their preferred method of gaming. The nostalgic influence is very apparent in the graphic design, really pulling from the brights and neon color palettes of the 90s, but in a way that really lends itself to the gameplay. It reminded me of the semi-educational games I used to play as part of my curriculum when I was being homeschooled, like Math Blaster, minus the math. With a modern game, there's a lot that could have gone wrong with this design choice, but all of the design elements were consistent to the game world and to the other elements, and everything is well proportioned. There's an ease to playing Archibald's Adventures, but without it being too casual. My only real design issue is that some of the tutorial text is hard to read, mostly when there's more text in the tutorial box. Or maybe I need glasses. That's totally a possibility. Clearly, Archibald's Adventures is not a game for everyone. I'm not even sure it's a game for me, but I'm not going to hold it against the game. As far as tablet-style puzzle platformers go, Archibald's Adventures is easily one of the best I've played in a while. But if you're not into nostalgia games or are looking for your thoughts to be provoked a little harder, you're going to want to look elsewhere. However, based on what Archibald's Adventures is trying to be and accomplish, I give it a respectable 7.2 out of 10. Thanks for watching this month's Geek Fueled. If you enjoyed it, you might want to check out some of the other programming on this channel, and be sure to like the video. If you want to keep updated on new content, hit that subscribe button, and be sure to ring that notification bell. I'll see you for next month's Geek Fueled. Bye!